Hello, hi everyone. Good evening. Is my voice is audible and clear? Can I just get a thumbs up from each one of you? Okay, great, great. Good to see you all after the festive vibe, right? I hope you all had a wonderful time with your family together. I think I cannot ask a more better time than this because you are all with full of positivity after spending your time with your kids, your family, your parents. So I cannot ask a time better than this. So my biggest gratitude to the Career Dwar team for this opportunity and this platform for me to discuss about parenting. And kudos to the intention of Career Dwar team to make and enrich the working professional's life better and better every day. Thank you. Thanks for that. Okay. Is there anyone in the room who had this question? Why a parenting topic in a Career Dwar? What is that it has to do with my acceleration in my career journey? Let me just quickly turn up the gallery view so that I could see each one of you and your reactions. Let's say if there is one small question that's coming up in this corner of your heart, why parenting in Career Dwar? I just want to first clarify that before we proceed further. I want each one of you to take a paper and then draw a line. Split the paper into two halves. Okay. And then in one half, I want you to write a title as personal and parenting. Okay. And in the other part of the section, write as your professional life. Okay. Can you all do it together with me? Yes. Okay. I'll try to give you few questions. I want you to answer the relevance what you feel for that question, both in your personal, specifically in your parenting life, and then also its relevance in your professional and career life. And if you feel it's relevant, just put S against that particular section. Okay. If you feel it is relevant in your personal and parenting, put yes. If it's relevant in your profession, then put yes. Okay. Hope I'm clear. Okay. Let's take it further. Have you ever had a scenario where you wanted people to work along with you towards reaching one common goal or a target state? Have you had this scenario? Is this scenario is relevant for you in your parenting? How about in your professional life? Put yes if it's relevant. Next, have you ever had to find a more creative ways to inspire focus and enthusiasm in the people with whom you get along in your family and in your colleague in your office space? Yes. The third, weren't you in a situation very often to give a feedback so that you could reflect them on their good performance, as well as you also wanted to give a constructive way to nurture them and to improve them better? Is that happening? To what extent in your personal life and in your professional life? Then the fourth question, are you as a person responsible for creating an open culture where you wanted people to share and open up transparently without hesitation? Is that your responsibility to create such a culture in your family and in your office? The last one, have you ever felt disappointed when you feel people are not listening to you? Okay, so what does your paper reads? Is it S for most of it on the both the columns? See, this is a very close reflection when I did this exercise for the first time during my 10th or 15th year while I was in my career journey. I understood the correlation and the synergies that a parent can create an impact in the professional life. The traits that what we develop will complement in both of this to accelerate each other. The learning, the way you try to become a person is going to complement and accelerate and make you the best in both of this world. So that's where it's more and more important that you as a parent winning is also going to make you win in your professional life 2x. It will accelerate it. Make sense? Okay. So before we move forward, I little bit wanted to understand about you all. Okay, I would request my tech team to launch a small poll. So there would be a question before you. I wanted each one of you to give an answer. So where are you on your parenting journey? If your kids is just born or a toddler, or you're the parents of a teenager, or you're to be parents, or you wanted to join just to be aware of parenting. We'll take few more seconds. I see we are around 50 people here. Okay. 60% is participated. Can I also ask participation from everyone? Or we'll close the poll exactly at 1 minute. I think it's taking at 50 seconds now. So hurry up, give your inputs. Okay, thank you. Thanks, support team. I think we can close the poll. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. So I see we have a lot of people in the toddler and teenagers. Okay, great. I also see people who joined to know more about parenting. That's really a wonderful. Thank you. Okay, now getting to know about you, I should also share about me, right? If you would have heard about the video that what has been shared in the Career Dwar, most of you would have known that I'm Shalini. I'm a working professional with 18 years of experience working across different roles, different companies, different domains, and more important, a proud mom of 2 kids. And here I wanted to share along with you the journey, how it has been, and to share some important traits what I wanted to share along with you. Before moving forward, I would want each one of you to turn on your camera, and if possible, you can also come into the gallery view so that we all see each other. Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you feel parenting is getting complex nowadays in this current scenario of the world? Is it getting tougher and complex? Do you agree? Yes or no? Maybe nodding like this or no? Okay. Yes, right? And do you feel as a parent, each and every parent has a very vital role to play in their children's future? Is it important? Yes, right? We unanimously agree, obviously. If you little bit think back towards the history, whenever we thought something is very important, and if something is very complex in nature and which is very dynamic and evolves over the time, we brought in standards to regulate that. Let me say education. And when there has been a stage in our society when we felt education is something which is definitely needed, then we brought in standards. So we brought in a kind of system that where we wanted to qualify people as a teacher who has to teach to what level of students. We brought in a system. We qualified people to teach. Similarly, let's take the medical field. So when we knew the health has a major part, so we also brought in a system, a pattern, and ever evolving studies. So we wanted somebody to be accredited as a doctor, practitioner, nurse, everything, right? But if you think, and as we all agreed, parenting, too complex, too dynamic, very, very evolving in nature every year, every day. And the most important, right? But do we have standards? Are we trained to be a parent? Of course, each one of us, from the way that we have been parented, from the way we try to understand our children, we trial things, we try to do our best, we learn, we get advices from people, our well-wishers, right? But still, isn't that we are left with so much of questions in our mind? Do you have those questions? My child is unable to focus or concentrate. He doesn't sit for one task for a long time. I do not know. How can I help? My child always wants something, more toys, more fun, more everything, but seldom he is satisfied when he gets that. How many of you felt it with today's kids? Gratitude hasn't been there in part of their life. Why? Do we know? Are we not in a position thinking every day, how do I bring in that culture? How can I make him satisfied to give him a feel of satisfaction? We are afraid. If I constantly motivate him, will he become a person who's overconfident? Am I doing it too much or am I doing it less? We know my child always watches TV. Whenever he comes back from the school, right, he tries to search for the screen, either the mobile. What to do about with that? Is this not the most conversation what we get in around our water purifiers and coffee table corners? You will feel, sometimes we feel that I know that I'm overprotecting him. But in this kind of world where there is sort of lot of uncertainties, insecurities, is there a better way for me to do that? Do we have an answer? No. Sometimes I feel my child is having a lack of confidence. He's not showing up. He doesn't comes and speaks when there are friends and relatives at the home. He goes inside the room. Why? Why he does that? I think somebody has to go on your mute. Isn't that? Do we have all these questions running in our mind? Though we are trying to evolve, still there are so many areas. If I remember right, I know I'm remembering it right. August 28, 2012, around night 10 o'clock, I was in my labor bed. I just gave birth to my son. And after 10 minutes, they took me away from me. Okay, he was just 10 feet away. I could still see him with my blurred eyes with lot of pains and dosages of medicine. I could still hear his crying noise. At that moment, I made a promise to him in my own mind that my son, I will do my best to make your life in this world and with an extraordinary experience, and also bringing you up as a person, as a human who is going to contribute to make this world a better place. So I wanted to raise such a child. It was my commitment where I want to make sure that he lives his life at the best, but he is also giving back. And he is a person coming with great moral values to the society. But the days passed. I was puzzled with all those questions, what I discussed with you. It is all coming up. So there has been a fear. Where do I find the answer? How do I keep up my commitment that I took on August 28, 2012 to my son? My first ever promise to him. That search pulled me into approaching parenting in a very different way. I realized parenting is a subject which is more a scientific one. It's a psychological. And moreover, in this world, with last 10 to 12 years, the kind of rapid transformation, what we see, it's also becoming more digital. So we cannot able to apply the kind of parenting that what we had experienced towards our kids. Even the kind of parenting what we try to give towards our first kid may not be applicable for our second one who was born 5 to 7 years later, because such a fast is the kind of generation and the people and the kids. True, right? So that's where I engulfed myself into this parenting journey. And in this journey, I realized, like me, there are so much of people committed, like you and me sitting here, because I could see in each one of your eyes, you are also trying to figure out how can you keep up your promises, because you're all highly committed like me. That's where you have joined in this program, to see like how you can bring in your best to make your kids' life the best, right? Agree? Today, in the next 15 minutes, let's try to understand one most important basic part of that. Let me quickly share the screen. And while I'm sharing it, I also wanted to ask one question. So for working professionals, most of us, so there is one thing like our shadow, like our pulse, which is always running up in our mind. Any idea what is that? I hope you could figure it out from the screen, right? It's time. The time is something which is always running up in our mind, even while you sleep or while you get up. Either we have lot, we do not have time. You have so much of things to do. We juggle between our personal life, professional life, our own aspirations, me time, parenting time, time, right? So that is the one lifeline thread, which is also much later. But I'll say you, how are we going to use it effectively now towards making our parent-child relationship more stronger? Quality time, right? Wherever we go, we hear that spend quality time with your kids, spend quality time with your kids. May I ask you, what's been your understanding when you hear about the word quality time? Maybe you can just give a word or two in the chat box. I think the chat box is still open. What it means for you, the quality time, parenting directly. Okay, I see few responses coming in. Just make it very simple, whatever the word that comes to your mind. And also put in the time. What is that you feel? What is your current understanding? If I'm spending this much of time, then I feel like I've spent a quality time with my kids today. What is the time that comes to your mind? You can put 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever is coming up to your mind. 5 minutes, I see 1 hour. Okay. 1.5 hours. Okay. The definition and the researchers say that quality time is the time which is going to increase the emotional bond between you and your children. Let me repeat it once again. Quality time is directly proportional to the activities or the time you spend, which is going to increase your emotional bond. Let me say you're watching a film along with your kids. It's a 3 hour film. Does it mean that you have spent 3 hours of quality time with them? No. The kind of interactions you had while you watched the film, the kind of comedies, humors that you exchanged, the eye contact or the tap you gave him on his shoulders, those are the time where you have engaged all your five senses and emotions, where you made that connect. It could be a 5 minutes out of the 3 hours or 15 minutes or 30 minutes. That is based on the film that what you have chosen to see along with him. That is the crux of quality time. Being said that, how to do that? Let me bring up three simple ways for you to achieve this quality time with your kids. I call it as a PCS technique. It's a simple three steps. Okay, the first is play, second is create, and the third is share. So with these techniques, we could be able to establish a very clear quality time with our kids, which is going to enrich our emotional bond with them. When it comes to play, see, there could be two kind of plays, and you can able to choose the play depending upon the age of your kids. Basically, there could be two categories. One is the structured play, like a play that what you do with a defined set of rules like business, ludo, chess, carom board. So that's a structured play, which needs a little bit of time. And then the unstructured play. Can you think of very small games, very unstructured, like you are trying to do a catch and hold running race with them, trying to do an hide and seek, even playing stone paper scissors, tic tac toe. So there is so much of unstructured plays that what you can evolve. Play is one of the most important one because it quickly engages all your five senses together. You will forget for a few minutes that you are a parent. You will go in a kind of emotional state that you are along with him. Doing it repeatedly creates a pattern between you and your child where you get connected. See, we all have a bio connection, but these quality times is going to establish that emotional connection with our kids, which is much and much more needed for us. So the first thing is play. See that how you can able to bring either a structured or unstructured play in your routines with your kids. Okay. Second, create. Create brings a sense of togetherness between you and your kids. When I say create, it's not about doing something or playing a role out of it. Let me say if your kid is doing an homework and you sit along with them, it doesn't comes under the create, because there you still play a role of a parent and then you guide him towards him and try to contribute. But togetherness is something where you create it along with them. Let's say you and your kid doing a painting together and making a finished ones, trying to figure out a puzzle, putting it together, and very happily looking at to the end picture. Baking a cake, each one of you contributing towards it. One trying to mix the flour, one is trying to preheat the oven, and then everybody cherish the end result. Something that what you create and complete it together with your kids. So that is the kind of activities that you have to involve. Is that clear? Are we on the good stage? Are you with me? Okay. The third one, the most powerful one. I would even say that the first and second one is most easy for us to implement because you'll have to plan and you could be in the conscious state. You could program yourself and you could do it. The most powerful is the third one, which I say is share. What does this sharing means? Most of the time, unintentionally, we as a parent, let me repeat, unintentionally, we as a parent will be in a supervisory mindset, which means either, okay, let me ask you this. Just spend a 30 seconds of time to think about today. What have been the kind of conversations you had with your kids today? From the morning since now, just try to recollect. If possible, just try to write 2 or 3 lines. Let's take 30 seconds. A small conversations. You could have asked them to, you make sure that you eat up all the snacks that I gave with you. Put up your shoes right in the rack. Have you completed your homework? Just think about 3 or 4 conversations that what you had with them. Just give me a thumbs up once you have got 2 to 3 sentences what you had. Srini is giving me a thumbs up. Okay. Okay. If you could see the sentences, most of our conversations would be either an instruction to them: do this, do that, don't do this. Second, it would be a guidance. We guide them the way we wanted them to do. You make sure that while you're trying to get into your van, you please make sure that you keep your hands inside, or you try to climb it up by after placing your bag over there. Third, either it would be a question: have you done your homework? Why? What is your mark over there? Why are you so late? To whom are you taking so much of time? Why are you still on mobile? Have you ate your food? If you could consciously note, all of our conversations mostly would be a kind of one-way conversation where we try to download information from them. How was your day? How was your school? Then the kid says, it was good. Have you ate the food? Yeah, I ate the food. We will have to make it from informational to conversational. But how do we do that? It comes by talking. When I say talk, we should start to share things. See, realize that instead of these one way answers, do you know the kind of feel that he has hit one goal during his physical education time? He had a conflict with a person in the corridor while he was trying to go for the snacks. Do you know a person who has made him upset today? But how do we get to know that? Which means it's not an information, but what we'll have to understand is the experience the child has gone through today. As I said before, it would be informational if you go into a question mode. How was your day? It was good. Have you had your lunch? Yes, I had your lunch. You can do this by putting yourself into the sharing mode first. Let me see, when you come back from the office or when you're done with your office meetings and when you see your kids, you start to say that today, I met one of my friend who I met while I was in on-site 10 years back. It was a very wonderful conversation. Have we ever started to open up such kind of sharing with our kids that what we can do? See, because kids is a role model. They role model us, right? So the more you ask question, they give you answer. The more you start to converse with them, then they share the experience. Then the real emotions come in. The more and more it comes up, the more and more you as a parent will have an effective control. You will establish that stronger bond of trust, because it's not that you just know it on a surface level. You know in depth what it means to him. In what context have he made that goal towards it? Was it an easy goal? Was it a tougher goal? What happened after he put that goal? Was there someone who teased him, or was that everything cherished him? So that's the kind of world we'll have to get into them when we get into the talking and sharing mode. So try to consciously do that. Let me say, even now, after once the session is done, when you go back, if you just see your kid, just take a pass and consciously see, like, instead of asking them questions, hey, have you ate, or have you done with your homework? Try to initiate a conversation. Go and say them that today I have attended a session. They were discussing of several techniques. Start to practice this mindfully. Then see the way the child opens up to you. So next time, try to consciously see how you can avoid or reduce. I wouldn't say that we have to avoid, but try to reduce questions, informations, guidelines, and take more into our conversations. So this would eventually very strongly will impact your watch. Right? With me there? Is there someone still wondering? It's all good to hear, but still I do not know how do I do that. It's night 11 when I finish my last meeting with my client. I work for the US client. I'm in night shift. I just want you all to see one video. Team, can I ask you to play the video? Okay, I hope it's coming up. Isn't that very true? How many of you could still feel that you are almost halfway on this journey? Right? This is the wonderful, wonderful opportunity for us to be with them, spend quality time with them. This is going to be not just the memory. I would see the time we spent is spent, but the quality time you spent is invested. It's invested for your own memories while you get into those older ages. It's the time that you invested for your kids' future and betterment. So take a commitment that you make at least 15 minutes. And as a token of gratitude, I also wanted to share certain games which you can play in less than 15 minutes with your kids. I all remember because we all lose our inner child while we grow up with all of this hiccups that what we have with profession and everything. So we have researched and given you certain games that what you can play. If you could look into the list, you will realize, yeah, there were such games which I missed. So I want each one of you to join the Facebook community, download that and try to start playing those little games. And maybe one last hack. At the worst case, you couldn't able to do that one quality time I couldn't spend. I cannot able to play or I couldn't do co-create. Mindfully, I couldn't able to do any conversation with him because I was full occupied. One last hack I will give you. Make sure at the end of the day, you do this sorry, thank you, happy, sad. So we call it as a game. So we do it still, we practice it. So each and every day when we go back, when we go to the bed, each one of us share two things. One is what is the moment in the day for what they feel very happy and what they feel very sad. And normally it's parents who first start to share. And then kids start to share. And then the second you ask them, who is that person to who you want to say thank you today? Who is the person or for what is that you regret? See, when you start to share, this becomes the first place for you to set them the right tone and direction. Say the things for what they have to say sorry. Teach them indirectly. I knew that for the person, the Ola person, while I got down from the car, he just gave me the lunch bag, which I forgot. I thank him. So today I want to thank him. I know I yelled at a person in a traffic jam. I do not know who is that person, but now I want to say sorry to him. Are you not inculcating these values, what you want from them? So do the simple exercise, but this is the last hack. I would still ask you to prioritize the first three ones. If nothing is working out, but at least do not end your day without at least doing this exercise with your kids. Do a happy sad and sorry, thank you. Okay, all good. I hope this session is very useful to you, and I expect each one of you to spend quality time with your kids and take it as a commitment. Okay. See you all in next other session. And just before we wind up, this comes to my mind. Also make sure tomorrow is one another powerful session coming up from Divakar. How do you overcome your fear factor of interviews? So do not miss to register and see you sharp tomorrow at 7:55 at Career Bar. Thank you. I appreciate each one of you for joining. The more appreciation comes when you try to put that into action. Looking forward for each of your quality time with your kids. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.